game movies have all basically sucked at this point. And that is because, number one, they decided to pick the wrong games. You know, like if you pick a video game that is basically a knockoff of a popular movie, all they're gonna get is a knockoff of a popular movie. Like for example, the Uncharted movie is just gonna be a ripoff of Indiana Jones. The new Assassin's Creed movie that's coming out in December is just gonna be some generic action flick. And the 6th Resident Evil movie that's gonna be made by Paul W.S. Anderson that is coming out after Assassin's Creed 2017. In January. Oh boy. Or number two, they decided to pick really popular games with original ideas, but then puts them in the hands of directors who had nothing to do with them. Like for example, Super Mario Brothers, all the Resident Evil movies, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and Silent Hill Revelation. But you know, on the bright side, there also happen to be movies that are actually faithful to the source material, like the first Silent Hill and of course the first Mortal Kombat. But actually, movies about video games have actually been really good. But movies about video games have been more interesting on the other hand, like Indie Game, the movie for example. You know, the one with Phil Fish. But you also have movies that use video games as its central universe, like Wreck-It Ralph, and sometimes they can be both good and faithful to the source material. And that's how you wind up with a movie like Duncan Jones' latest video game film, Warcraft. Now before all you fanboys burned down my house, I did not read the source material and I haven't played a single Warcraft game. But after this movie, I kinda want to learn more about the Warcraft universe. And some people may think that this is actually an adaptation of World of Warcraft, right? Actually no, because it's basically an adaptation of the first Warcraft game, Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, where you basically take the role of both orcs and humans, and then you fight each other to gain supremacy over Azeroth. And now over a decade has passed, and Duncan Jones, who was also the creator of Source Code and Moon, have decided to turn Warcraft into its first feature film. So how is Warcraft though? Well, let's dive right into Warcraft. So in this movie, the orcs' home of Draenor is dying, and they need to find a new world to inhabit in. So they decide to go through a portal that they created so they can find another world to inhabit in. Toby Kebbell plays Durotan, who is the chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, and he wants to protect his clan, along with his wife, his newborn son, and his friend Orgrim Doomhammer, so that way they can escape the evil forces and chaos of Gul'dan, an ancient warlock who uses the evil power of the Thel, so that he and his evil orc army of the Horde decide to go and conquer all over Azeroth. Fortunately, over on the Alliance side, they try to stop the chaotic madness of what the Horde is doing. Lothar, who is the leader of the Alliance's army, teams up with a young mage named Khadgar, with the help of the Old Guardian, played by Ben Foster, as Medivh. Fortunately, a half-human, half-orc named Garona joins along for the ride, as she helps the Alliance try to regulate peace with the orcs. The only question of this film is, can they restore peace in Azeroth, or will Azeroth be a non-stop battlefield between humans and the orcs? So I have to say that the plot itself is really straightforward and well done. Now, aside from the frequent information and exposition this film gives out to you, and I'll get to that in a second, for me personally, I kinda like the character-driven storyline, and I think that the storyline between the orcs and the humans on both sides allows it to flow more naturally. And also, I kinda really do like most of the characters. Travis Fimmel as Lothar. Now, I haven't seen Travis Fimmel's works in Vikings, but I can tell by the acting in here, I actually really enjoyed his character. I like the fact that he's this really strong, brave, and stoic hero, while at the same time being a really smart and comedic wise ass. So basically, I think that Travis played the right kind of character with the right kind of personality in this film. Now, the young mage Khadgar, I thought was really good too. I mean, some people think that he's kind of like the weakest link of the film, was that he's kind of annoying and kind of a weak link in the film, but I personally thought that you understand his motives during the film. You understand why he wants to do all these things, and you understand why he wants to accomplish his goals. Other characters from the Alliance are really good also. Ben Foster as Medivh was really good as well. Kept you guessing what his motives are and what he wants to do. Now, Dominic Cooper as King Lanran, I thought was alright. He didn't blow me out of the water like the next characters we're gonna deal with, cause holy crap. But he was really serviceable in his role, and that was fine by me. Now, let's talk about the best characters in the movie, which are the orcs. Toby Kebbell as Durotan. Now, if you don't know who Toby Kebbell is, he was Koba in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and he was Dr. Doom. But as Durotan, he was great in this film. You understand why he wants to save his people from Gul'dan, and I think probably he's the best character in the whole movie. Rob Krasinski as Orgrim Doomhammer was also really good too. You can see that most people in this movie are really showing passion to their character and really caring about their role. And Daniel Wu as Gul'dan is one of those fine examples. And you really didn't feel like he was just a CGI character. He was a real menacing threat. And Paula Patton, who plays Garona, was also a good character. Okay, and I want to get down to something. The visual effects in this film, oh my god. Like, my eyes literally bulged out when I saw the first frame of Durotan. As you can see that the visual effects and the motion capture make it feel realistic. It's like you're actually looking at an orc. And also some of the creatures like the griffin and some of the magic that Khadgar and Medivh use are really interesting as well. And do you get to see some action scenes in there? Yes. Really brutal ones at that. You can see humans stabbing orcs, orcs literally laying waste on the soldiers of the Alliance, and some of the kills are actually really brutal in this. You have a really great score by Ramin Djawadi, and this is some of the most faithful and really well done production design I've seen in a video game film. It's like you actually feel like you're in Azeroth, and it actually feels like you're in that world. Now, Warcraft is really, really good, I can tell you that, but does it have flaws? Yeah, it does. I think some of the pacing got a little slow at times and it became a drag. I thought like in the middle section it became a little spotty at points. It did become a drag to me at points, but then instantly after all that drag it finally pays off with an action sequence. Now let's get back to the complaint I had the first time. I know people constantly complain about the frequent exposition and information dump, mainly because I know Duncan Jones wants to deliver out so much lore as possible so that he can properly develop his characters, so that we can get a fresh new idea of what the Warcraft universe was supposed to be. But he tried as much as he could to make sure that all the character development makes sense, because the original cut of Warcraft was supposed to be 40 minutes extra, which basically means 2 hours and 43 minutes, full with character development and information about the lore. Does it bother me at points? Kinda, but I also like to really know more about the lore and what goes on in Warcraft after I watch this film. So with pacing that does become a drag a little bit, and with some frequent information and exposition dump, Warcraft is actually a really good video game movie. And it's probably the greatest video game movie I've seen all my life. You have a really well-made character-driven story with really good characters and good acting at both parts, really amazing visual effects, brutal action sequences, some really good score from Ramin Djawadi, and some of the most gorgeous production design I've seen in a video game film. Really like this movie. I can't wait to get the Blu-ray. I can't wait to get the poster of this film. Can't wait to get the steelbook as well, because I really like this film, guys. Warcraft for me gets a 4 out of 5. And Duncan Jones, please give us the director's cut on Blu-ray. Please. It'll be a way better director's cut than Batman vs. Superman. Please. Alright guys, that is my review of Warcraft. Comment below, let me know what you thought about this film. Find me on Facebook, Google+, or probably message me on YouTube if you feel like it. My name is Luke Nukem, and you have been blown away.